Texas is the largest state in the southern United States and the second largest in both land area and population. In 1963, it became the site of a globally notorious event, the assassination of John F. Kennedy, the 35th President of the United States. This tragedy has had a profound impact on both the United States and the world. Over the decades, numerous researchers have delved into the true cause of Kennedy's death, but it remains shrouded in mystery to this day. So how was President Kennedy assassinated, and what is the truth behind his death? Hello, welcome to the Crime Documentary Files channel. Let's travel back to 1963 and review the details. On November 22, 1963, President John F. Kennedy and First Lady Jacqueline Kennedy, accompanied by Vice President Lyndon B. Johnson, visited Dallas, Texas. Unbeknownst to them, this would tragically be President Kennedy's last journey. Around noon, the Kennedys and the Vice President rode through the streets of Dallas in a luxurious Lincoln convertible, cheered on by enthusiastic crowds. In an effort to appear more accessible, Kennedy had the car's roof removed. At about 12:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, as the motorcade passed the Texas School Book Depository, shots were fired. The first, a muffled sound, hit Kennedy in the neck, causing him to clutch at his throat. Jacqueline attempted to stem the bleeding, but before any help could arrive, a second fatal shot struck Kennedy in the back of the head, causing catastrophic injuries. In a desperate attempt to recover part of his skull, Jacqueline climbed onto the car's trunk. At the same time, Governor John Connally was also injured. After the gunfire ceased, President Kennedy slumped beside Jacqueline, fatally wounded. The car immediately rushed to Parkland Memorial Hospital, arriving within minutes. Despite the medical team's best efforts, the headshot was fatal. President Kennedy likely died from his initial injuries and was officially pronounced dead at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. President Kennedy was the fourth U.S. president to be assassinated and, at 43, the second youngest ever elected. He was also the only Catholic and the only president to have won a Pulitzer Prize. Kennedy was not just admired as a president, but idolized as a cultural icon. His assassination, witnessed by countless onlookers, abruptly ended a promising career and has continued to impact the United States and the world profoundly. Many speculate that, had he not been assassinated, the course of history might have been very different. His death left a lasting mark on his family, the renowned Kennedy family, which some believe to be cursed. The public assassination of President Kennedy shocked the nation. The police quickly initiated an investigation to identify the assassin. Remarkably, they acted with unprecedented speed. Historical records show that at 1:50 p.m., merely an hour and 20 minutes after the shooting, police apprehended Lee Harvey Oswald, an American with ties to Cuba and a former Marine noted for his sharpshooting skills. Following his discharge, Oswald had lived in the Soviet Union. After the assassination, he reportedly took a bus and then a taxi to his home, stayed briefly, and then left. 15 minutes later, he fatally shot Officer Tippit approximately a mile away. At 1:40 p.m., a shoe store owner noticed Oswald entering the Texas Theater and alerted the police. Oswald was arrested 10 minutes later. However, just 2 days later, in a shocking turn of events, nightclub owner Jack Ruby fatally shot Oswald during a live broadcast while he was in police custody, surrounded by dozens of law enforcement officers. This brazen act fueled numerous conspiracy theories due to its outrageous nature. Following Oswald's death, newly inaugurated President Lyndon B. Johnson appointed a special committee led by Chief Justice Earl Warren, to thoroughly investigate the assassination. Established on October 29, 1963, the committee became known as the Warren Commission. The Warren Report, compiling the Commission's findings, was based on interviews with 178 witnesses. Regarding the number of gunshots, 132 witnesses reported hearing 3 shots, 17 heard 2, 7 heard 2 or 3, 6 heard 4, and 9 were unsure. Combining witness statements with ballistic evidence, the investigation concluded that 3 shots were fired during the president's motorcade, with bullets striking President Kennedy in the neck and head and wounding Governor Connally. Testing the bolt-action rifle found at the scene, the commission discovered that a marksman required at least 2.25 seconds to accurately fire 2 shots. However, film footage indicated that the interval between President Kennedy being shot in the neck and Governor Connally being hit was significantly shorter, clearly less than 2.25 seconds. This discrepancy led many to speculate about the presence of more than one shooter, possibly a second or even a third gunman. Despite these suspicions, the Warren Commission concluded that a single bullet caused both Kennedy's neck wound and Connally's injuries, a theory known as the single bullet theory. According to this theory, the first shot missed, the second bullet struck both Kennedy and Connally, and the third bullet hit Kennedy in the head, suggesting there was only one assassin who had already been killed. The single bullet theory faced significant skepticism. The Warren Commission stated that the bullet entered Kennedy's back 2 inches to the right of the spine, passed through his neck, exited below his Adam's apple, then entered Connally's back near the right armpit, exited below his right nipple, struck his right wrist, and finally lodged in his left thigh. Critics labeled it the magic bullet theory due to its seemingly implausible trajectory and the bullet remaining largely intact after causing 7 wounds. However, subsequent experiments, including a reenactment by the Discovery Channel, demonstrated that a bullet could indeed cause multiple wounds while remaining largely undeformed, lending some credibility to the magic bullet theory. Dr. Henry Lee's later investigation revealed no DNA from Kennedy or Connally on the bullet, which had been cleaned for ballistic testing, thus hindering the investigation. The Warren Commission's investigation, lasting 10 months and involving interviews with 552 witnesses and 25,000 related personnel, resulted in a comprehensive report named after Chief Justice Warren. Published on September 27, 1964, and fully available on the U.S. government website, the report concluded that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone in assassinating President Kennedy and wounding Governor Connally. The bullets were fired from the 6th-floor window of the Texas School Book Depository. The investigation found no evidence of a conspiracy involving other individuals or groups, nor any indication of Oswald being an agent for any foreign government, the FBI, the CIA, or other government departments. There was also no proof of Oswald knowing Jack Ruby, who later killed him, or any officials being involved in a conspiracy against the U.S. government. The assassination was deemed a tragic act by 2 unstable individuals. The public largely rejected this conclusion, given the circumstances suggesting a well-organized assassination. Oswald publicly declared he was a patsy. Before he could stand trial, Oswald was fatally shot by Jack Ruby during a live broadcast, surrounded by police. Ruby, who had nothing to say during his 3 years in prison, died from illness. Moreover, within 3 years of Kennedy's assassination, 18 key witnesses died under mysterious circumstances, including shootings, car accidents, suicides, throat slashing, neck breaking, and natural causes, leading to speculation about a cover-up. Between 1963 and 1984, 103 witnesses related to the case died unnaturally, some seemingly unrelated to the assassination, but none escaped their fate. Among them was Marilyn Monroe, allegedly Kennedy's mistress. Additionally, crucial evidence was destroyed or altered, such as the Lincoln car Kennedy was in, which was quickly cleaned, and the damaged glass replaced. The president's autopsy report was reportedly destroyed and replaced. These actions suggested a powerful force was erasing all evidence related to the assassination, making it an unsolvable case. Despite the conclusions of the Warren Report, numerous alternative theories have emerged over the decades. Some speculate involvement by the Soviet Union, Cuba, Wall Street, the Freemasons, or even extraterrestrials. Today, I'll discuss some of the more mainstream theories. Theory 1. The official narrative asserts that Lee Harvey Oswald was the lone assassin. He had the necessary skills, having served as a Marine sniper noted for his marksmanship. Texas police found a 6.5 Famfig 52mm Italian Carcano M91-38 bolt-action rifle on the 6th floor of the Texas School Book Depository shortly after the assassination. The rifle, purchased via mail order from Chicago under the alias A. Heidel, a name found on a fake ID in Oswald's possession at the time of his arrest, bore a partial fingerprint that matched Oswald's, seemingly confirming him as the assassin. However, many have questioned the simplicity of this narrative, especially since Oswald claimed he was a scapegoat and had been arrested for reasons unrelated to the assassination. Reporter: Did you kill the president? Oswald: No, I've not been charged with that. In fact, nobody has even said that to me yet. This statement forced the public to suspect that someone had orchestrated the entire event, and Oswald was merely a scapegoat. In fact, it was rumored that at the time of Kennedy's assassination, a person standing by the street looked remarkably like Oswald. If true, then he might not have been the shooter. Unfortunately, the video taken at the scene was unclear and could not substantiate this claim. Theory 2. From a scientific and theoretical standpoint, it's often useful to analyze who benefits the most from an event to determine potential involvement. The biggest beneficiary of Kennedy's assassination was clearly the Vice President, Lyndon B. Johnson. Kennedy was likely to be re-elected, which would have left Johnson little chance of becoming president. However, following Kennedy's assassination, Johnson immediately succeeded him as dictated by U.S. law. The timing of Kennedy's assassination and Johnson's swift assumption of the presidency aboard Air Force One, with Kennedy's widow Jacqueline present in her blood-stained clothes, only adds to the suspicion. This swearing in, which occurred while Kennedy's body was still warm, marks the only time in U.S. history that a presidential inauguration took place on an airplane. Additionally, the change in the motorcade's route, which involved a turn that slowed the cars, making it easier for a shooter to target, likely had Johnson's approval, as no one else had the authority to alter the route. Theory 3. J. Edgar Hoover, the formidable first director of the FBI, who served for 48 years, was another figure of immense power. There were rumors that Kennedy felt the FBI had too much power and intended to diminish Hoover's authority, a move Hoover likely could not accept. Within hours of the assassination, Hoover asserted the need for convincing evidence to demonstrate to the American public that Oswald was the culprit. On December 9, 1963, 17 days after the assassination, the FBI released its report to the Warren Commission, affirmatively stating that Lee Harvey Oswald fired all 3 bullets that killed President Kennedy. This swift conclusion by Hoover suggested a possible agenda to focus solely on proving Oswald's guilt. Hoover, known for protecting his position through his secret files containing incriminating information on many high-ranking U.S. officials, including presidents, had the means to maintain his power. If Kennedy indeed planned to reduce Hoover's influence, it's possible Hoover could have used his secret files to negotiate rather than arranging an assassination, a significantly riskier action. Theory 4. Though young and serving only a short time in office, Kennedy did not disappoint Americans. He was highly regarded, often compared to Washington, Lincoln, and Roosevelt. His administration achieved significant milestones in a brief period. Kennedy tried to abolish the Federal Reserve, skillfully navigated the Cuban Missile Crisis, and strongly supported technological advancements, space programs, the Vietnam War, and the civil rights movement. He aimed to end the Vietnam War early, beginning with the withdrawal of 1,000 American troops. War is a costly endeavor, and during wartime, spending escalates, benefiting arms dealers. Kennedy's plan to end the Vietnam War posed a threat to their profits. Arms dealers with deep roots and extensive influence in the U.S. could feasibly orchestrate such an assassination. Many believe Kennedy's death is tied to these arms dealers, with Vice President Johnson, allegedly their representative, also playing a role. Johnson reversed Kennedy's Vietnam withdrawal plans after taking office. Theory 5. Oil signifies wealth. The South, especially Texas, was home to many oil magnates. Kennedy planned financial reforms that would drastically reduce tax benefits for these Texas oil magnates, costing them billions annually. This posed a threat to their interests, making it likely they would take drastic actions. The assassination site in Texas was their stronghold, providing a logistical advantage. Again, Johnson's influence is evident, as he was from Texas and supported by these magnates. The funds for his presidential campaign originated from them. If the oil magnates were behind Kennedy's assassination, Johnson likely had a role. These are all just theories. To date, Kennedy's assassination remains a global mystery. Despite various civilian speculations, the U.S. government has never provided a definitive answer. The true story might involve national secrets, preventing its full disclosure. By U.S. law, all secret files concerning Kennedy's assassination were to be made public, but the most critical documents remain protected. To uncover the truth, we can only hope the U.S. releases these final files soon. Regardless of who becomes U.S. president, standing at the pinnacle of power inevitably impacts some interests negatively while benefiting others. This makes the president a target for those adversely affected. Thus, it's often said that the U.S. presidency is a high-risk job. Kennedy was a capable president, free from external influences. His campaign was funded by his wealthy family, making him independent of outside pressures. Despite his short tenure, he enacted numerous reforms, offending many powerful entities. In the midst of ever-mounting theories and enduring mysteries surrounding President Kennedy's assassination, it's vital to reflect on the profound impacts such events have on a nation's psyche and the world at large. The assassination of a leader not only destabilizes the immediate political landscape, but also sends shockwaves through the fabric of society, altering the course of history. If you find this video interesting, remember to like, comment, and share it. See you next time.